Again, we have a new weekly payer in the weekly dividend ETF account. Welcome back to the channel, guys. We're doing our full breakdown on the update for our weekly paying account, which has been so much fun. And I know you guys have been enjoying it too. We are now up to 10 ETFs in the account and probably going to continue to grow. From the looks of things, the way everything is going in the market, it looks like they're going to continue to put out more and more of these because they've just been really successful in building an insane amount of AUM. People are buying these a lot. So good news. Bad news is some of these have been destroyed. This week has been tough. Now, it's weird because we are up in the account by $54. We took a nice jump. A couple of things really ran up nicely, and we had some really nice dividends. But all in all, a lot of these are still in the red. So we are going to cover all of that and more. If you guys are interested in stock content, in ETFs, in dividends specifically, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like the video and to subscribe. Helps me out, and I want to continue to grow this community. You guys are amazing, and I owe it all to you. With all that being said, let's roll the intro. Before we dive into the individual funds that we have now, I wanted to update you guys. So we are up $54, which is pretty phenomenal. I'm glad that we bounced back up. We were in like the low 40s last week, and so it's been trailing up quite nicely. A few weeks ago, we were at like $11 positive. So we have made some good strides since then. Our total cash account, we now have $43.20 USD in our cash account and all 10 funds here. So we're getting a lot of dividends. Stuff is paying out. We're getting the cash, and it's going to help us grow this account continually. My next buy, I'm going to buy another share of XDTE once we get to $50.43 of cash in the account. It's probably going to take at least a couple more weeks, but we are slowly growing there. So all those details, very, very important stuff. Let's get into the individual funds, and we'll start off with our biggest loser so far. Every single week, you know the one that it is. It's IWMY. All right, starting off with our biggest loser, down 12.71%. Absolutely crazy. We're in week 16 now. So 4 months of this, we can see average cost of $34.61 and a current price of $30.21. So we are down $13.20 in our total P&L. Definitely not good. I'm not buying any more shares of these. That is for sure. When we pull up the chart, we just see NAV erosion. I've seen some comments saying, oh, it's not NAV erosion, the market's red. That's not true. The market has not been red this entire time. We've seen some insane returns, especially like September, October, November, and early December. The returns were insane. So we should not have been seeing things like this. And so it is. It's NAV erosion. That's what it is, plain and simple. I'm disappointed in the Defiance funds. You guys know that. I've said that a lot. I won't be buying them in my own personal account. I don't know who is buying these, but there is some volume. It's not necessarily one way or the other, but maybe some people are interested. We can see AUM 112 million, still quite large, and a dividend yield of 108.5%, which is, I mean, it's paying out a high yield, but the more the price drops, the less you're actually getting. So remember that. Just because it's paying out an insanely high dividend yield doesn't mean you're getting a good return on your money. There is a difference there. So jumping into the last 4 dividends, we had almost 26 cents, we had 30 cents, we had 30 cents, and we had 29 cents, a little over 29 cents. So not a bad dividend. If this thing was trading sideways, I'd be all for it, but it's not. It's losing money. I believe this is one of the ones in the spreadsheet that we're tracking all these in. I think it is red. Actually, I know it is red because I just updated everything. But my goodness, the real loser this week is QQQY. So let's jump over and check out that fund. I don't know what to say. QQQY, I think it was down 9% last week, and now we're up to almost 12%. This thing might surpass IWMY as the worst one in the account. Yeah, 11.83% down. Our average cost was $34.37 and currently trading for $30.30. Ouch. This one hurts. These funds, guys, I'm telling you, it's a bummer because I was so excited for weekly payers. This one, IWMY had bounced back a little bit. This one's not even trying. QQQY, this might be a lost cause. Larger AUM, almost 160 million. Lower dividend yield of 87%, but still it can't keep up with the distributions. The NAV continues to fall. We've seen it falling even before the split. And if you thought it was going to stop falling at the split, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I bought them, so I'm not calling you out if you guys have owned these. I own them, still currently do, and look at the return. So definitely not pumped. Last couple of dividends: 22 cents, 24 cents, 31 cents and 30 cents. They pay out good dividends. That's the thing. I mean, are they eroding their capital to pay out these distributions? Probably, because the volume just keeps going. The volume's staying the same, I should say, but the dividends are staying the same, and we're just losing money. We're losing NAV. It is wild. Now, there is a shining light in the Defiance ETFs. That is WDTE. So let's check that one out. And I mean, I said shining light, but it's down 7.5%. I do think it's up total net loss, but we will check that in just a moment. We had an average cost of $42.18 and current price of $39 flat. Wow, we are down $6.36. You know, this one did rebound a bit nicer, kind of similar to IWMY. What's interesting to me is normally IWMY is the outlier, and QQQI and WDTE have been trading pretty close. So maybe the S&P 500 and IWMY is the Russell. So the S&P 500 normally trades closer to the NASDAQ, and this time the Russell did better and the NASDAQ fell. I don't know. But still, it is really interesting how they kind of just swapped roles there. We almost had it come all the way back up. It was, 39, just under 39.22, and we're 22 cents off of that. So it may even surpass the prior dividend, but probably not. We're probably going to see it continue to trend downward like we have with all of these, even if it is at a slower pace. Much smaller AUM at 72 million and a dividend yield of 52%. So a lot more realistic. Again, we did have some weird dates with all the weekly payers because the market has been closed over and over and over again. The market was closed today. It is Monday the 20th. So for MLK Day, happy MLK Day, everybody. And so honestly, I don't know how it's going to impact these funds individually, but we have seen some weird things going on. But we'll look at the last 4 distributions anyway. Look at the volume on this guy. It's like nothing. Like nobody is trading this thing. We can see 18 cents. We have almost 24 cents, 23.5 cents, and 23 cents. So a continual trend, a little bit lower of a dividend, but not significantly lower. Probably low enough to just keep people holding these, but not low enough to make everybody sell out of them. So I'm disappointed in these, but to be honest, I'm not as disappointed in these as I am with the RoundHill funds that have just been suffering. And those were the ones that were supposed to be absolutely destroying the account. So let's check out one of the bigger losers as of last week anyway, RDTE. So we didn't fall much more from last week. We have an average cost of $44.36 and a current price of $41.17. We are down 7.2%. Not happy about that, but at least this week it didn't tank like a lot of the other ones fell. So, you know, a win's a win, even if we are overall losing, I guess. It just hurts. It just hurts. Now let's go, if we go to the 1-year chart for RDTE, this is the newer fund. I think it started trading when? September? Yeah, September 10. So, oh my gosh. You guys can see when I decided to add another share, when it was $44.74, now we're $41.17. My timing couldn't have been worse on that, really. I didn't buy the high, but a disappointing area to buy right before everything tanked. Oh, RDTE, come back to me. Come on. Keep it going. We have an AUM of 180 million and a dividend yield of, it's more than 14%. It should be in the 40s, I believe, for RDTE. This is a fund. I like it long term. I was going to say this is a fund that I do think has potential. I think it's got to get some legs under it. It's got to be trading in a better market than we're in now. But there is still hope. We had a lot of selling and not a lot of buying since then. The volumes trailed off a little bit, and we'll probably see that as a trend until the market rebounds ever so slightly. Now we can see we had last couple of dividends of 27.5 cents. We had a crazy large distribution, 59 cents, and then 20.5 cents, 20.01 cents, and then we had 38 cents. So a solid dividend, larger than a lot of these other ones. Kind of a good note, actually. I'm happy about that. RDTE. Okay, we're getting back into it. We can do this. We can do this. I really need that rebound. We need the price to rebound and for this thing to trade sideways for a little bit, pay out those nice dividends, and just keep going. I do think that the fan base that RoundHill has will keep RDTE alive, even if it does struggle a little bit more. And again, this one is on the Russell, so you're playing a little bit riskier. Those smaller cap stocks are typically riskier than the huge mega cap stocks. And we know that. When the market's in a full downfall, these will probably do a little bit worse than the larger stocks because people have less faith in them than, say, Google and Meta. But all in all, I'm still holding. I still have this one in my Roth IRA. I am down on it, but I'm okay with it. I'm going to hold it. We'll see what it does. Let's jump into our next RoundHill fund, XDTE. You know, it's so-so. We're down 3.6% with XDTE. We have an average cost of 52.31 and a current price of 50.43. So we're down 3.6%. If we zoom out a little more, we'll go to the 1 year. It has just fallen off a cliff. To me, because this one has more trading history, I'm not buying more right now, but if I was going to like have cash for something, I put all my money into challenges on this account. So subscribe if you guys don't mind. It helps me out a ton. But I put all my cash into different challenges for the account, like the YieldMax account, the weekly dividend paying account, and then I also have a high yield account. And so all of these, it just drained my cash for the moment. I'm going to start investing again. Taxes are coming, so prepping for that. But once I get more money in the account, I might even scoop up more shares of XDTE at this low cost. I mean, look, it's bounced around. It's not in unfamiliar territory yet. It was pretty low, but it's kind of on the up now. So I think, you know, for me personally, this is something I would look at to invest again. But like I said, I'm out of cash currently. We have an AUM of 334 million and a dividend yield of 22%. It's a little bit higher than that. I think it is closer to mid-30s last I checked. And the volume's been good. I mean, look at this volume. We've had a lot of green. We've had a lot of green recently, and I'm more hopeful for this guy. I really am. RDTE is riskier. I think there's a good potential for return on that one, but XDTE just makes me feel a little better, right? I'm just like a warm hug. Makes me feel a little more like, okay, you know, we can do this. We can do this. Last couple of dividends, we had 64 cents, 61 cents. We had 33.5 cents, and then we recently had 19 cents. So lower, definitely lower, but remember, these ones, sometimes they have a cycle where it's like a weird payment. Sometimes we see lower payments, and 18 is not even as low as we've seen. We've seen, what, 15? So I'm not bummed. You know, sometimes they pay out lower. You just got to deal with it. Go with the punches. This is why people, they're higher risk funds. If you're living off the dividends, sometimes you might have to eat rice and beans for a couple days, you know, until you get the next dividend that'll pay you out some more money. You can buy some chicken. You can buy some steak. You can buy the food that everyone wants. But still, I'm just still holding. I'm not too disappointed. The volume looks really healthy with this one, and I'm really curious how it compares to our next weekly dividend ETF. Say that 10 times fast. QDTE. All right, down 4.93%, almost down 5%, but not terrible considering last week we were around this same spot. We have a current price of $40.30, and our purchase price was $42.39. So we are down. We're down $6.30. I keep saying we're down, and it just bums me out. Now, my problem with QDTE is we do see kind of some patterns in the chart. You know, the future isn't indicative. The past isn't indicative of what it's going to do in the future, but it is something to note. Remember, these do have insane volume again, too. So people are buying them on these dips. This is factual information right here. The pretty colors aren't just because, you know, they're pretty colors. There's something to note there. Huge AUM, 723 million and growing. Last 2 weeks ago, it wasn't even above 700 million. So it is definitely growing. Dividend yield of 33, almost 34%. I do think it's a little bit higher than that because we still haven't had the full year of trading. I don't think so. So more to come from this guy. Trading wise, I mean, it is down almost $7 from its all-time high to where it's trading currently. We need a bounce back. We need it to be solidified, to be solid, and to just trade more sideways like it was during this portion. These things really don't react well when there's a really negative market, and that does scare me a little bit. I'm not going to sugarcoat it with you guys. We have not seen these things in a full-fledged bear market. We could see a lot of this. The dividends may be consistent, but if you're going to have a crazy falling price, that being said, I don't think this is NAV erosion. I think it's just the market. This thing seems to trade with the market a lot better than like the Defiance funds. They're just trading down no matter what. The Defiance funds, you don't have like a green like couple of weeks. You know, this guy, he has green weeks, had some red weeks, and now we're hoping for that bounce back. So I'm very hopeful. Like I said, I own this one too. Last couple of dividends, we had a 87-cent dividend, and then an 80-cent, and then we had a 30-cent, and then we have an 18-cent. So very similar to XDTE. Not bad. It's lower, but we did have some crazy high dividends the last couple of times, so we can't complain. You can't be loving it when the dividends are crazy good and then give up on it when the dividend drops for 1 week. You know, we got to roll with the punches with this guy too. I think there's a lot of longevity in these accounts, in these funds, I should say. If people really like the weekly income, and maybe better ones will come along. Maybe they will. And if they do, you'll find it here first. I promise. Let's jump into our newest RoundHill fund, YBTC. Very, very solid. We are up 6%. If you guys don't know, Bitcoin rallied. It was the inauguration today, and it hit like 109,000 per Bitcoin. So absolutely crazy. Our purchase price was 48.75 and a current price of 51.65. So we are up $5.80. This is what, one of two that are green in the account, and the other one is the other new weekly payer by YieldMax. So, not too bad. Here's our buy. This thing did rocket. It's been at lows of 38, and now we're currently sitting at 51, which is crazy. There's a lot more price variation with this guy, and we're only on our second weekly distribution. So not a lot of data there. AUM is 108 million, which is crazy. Is this more than, was it IWMY or QQQY? That is wild to me. People are flocking to these ones, I guess because RoundHill has a lot better history than Defiance, and YieldMax maybe even better than both, depending on the funds. The YieldMax weeklies have been doing so well. We have a dividend yield of 46.6%. An insane buying volume. You guys can see since it's gone weekly, the volume has spiked. Let's see, 150,000, 50. So we've tripled. Even more than that, some of the lower days around Christmas. The volume is up. People are buying this. Sure, some people are selling, but overall, more volume is typically, I would say it's a good trend. People are at least looking at it. Maybe some are selling. Maybe some are recouping. Maybe they bought down here and they're selling for tax purposes. Who knows? Still, I like this one. I like YBTC. I don't own it in my main account yet, but maybe I will soon. We can see we had a weird split with the dividends. I think January 2 was the first weekly paying because it was $1.03, and this last one was 53 cents, and that was January 8. No, we're missing one. We are actually missing one distribution that should have come out already. And let's see. We can go to our notifications. We can jump into this. And YBTC paid out 70 cents, and that was the 16th. So it's just not popped up on here yet. So what did I say it paid out? It paid out higher, 70 cents, right? Yeah, 70 cents, which is even better than our 54 cents. So boom. Next dividend's even better. It's not on here yet, but it should be probably pretty soon. And yeah, YBTC, let's go. Which means we're actually probably even greener in the account than it's showing. Drip is not on, but that will show up in our weekly dividend tracking spreadsheet. Now, let's move to the fun ones. We're going to go to our newest purchase, ticker LFGY. There's not much to talk about. I bought 2 shares, average cost of $52.98 and a current price of $54.42. So this thing is up 2.71%. If we jump to the chart, it's ugly. Here's our buy. Here's where we're at now. We got some money. AUM of 8 million. It's above that now, I'm pretty sure. These things probably take some time to update. We don't have the dividend yield yet. We don't have any dividends. I don't have a distribution chart. I have not seen what YieldMax is planning on doing, what they're planning on putting out, any sort of actual yield. People are predicting it, I think. I've seen some channels talking about it, but I have no way of knowing what it's going to be, and I don't know how they do. Maybe they have more information than me. If you guys know what the dividend yield or distribution rate for LFGY is going to be, let me know in the comments, and let's discuss it. That would be great. And let me know how you got it, because I'd love to know how you guys get that information. The comments are a beautiful place for information. You guys are so crazy smart. So I appreciate all that help. Let's move into our next YieldMax ETF, probably the fan favorite, YMax. The more of these ETFs I get, the longer these videos are going to get. I'll try and just speed it up, but my goodness. YMax is down 4.6%. Not terrible week over week. Last week it was around the same, and we did have that distribution come out and buy us another portion of a share. We're almost to 5.5 shares, but not quite. We have an average cost of $17.58 and a current price of $16.77. So we have some ground to make up. We'll pull this out to the 1-year chart. And again, beaten down. But look at the volume, guys. The volume on these has just been doing so well. People are buying these. Very, very interesting. Yes, there is some selling. There's some red days, as we've seen with the market. But all in all, people are watching these funds. People are watching them closely, especially compared to when they were paying monthly. The monthly thing was so weird to me. I never really realized they were paying like 10 to 20% monthly, and nobody gave these a second glance because you have like MSTY. I have a new MSTY video out, how to make $100 every single week with MSTY, that I will link at the end of this one. But still, absolutely crazy. Crazy the volumes picked up. We have an AUM of 744 million. YieldMax taking over. It is now well above QDTE. By a couple 10 million, actually, a couple tens of millions. So pretty crazy. Dividend yield of 47.25%. I think it's even higher than that. Last couple of distributions, we're kicking that up like crazy. But I'll be real. The distributions were a little bit of a bummer this week. If I'm remembering correctly, we had 12 cents. We'll do the last 4. We had 12 cents, 14 cents. We had 24 cents, and then we had 13. And then we had this weird January 3. Like, I don't know what to do with that. That was the last one. It was 18 cents last time, so now we're at 14. So not super low. We've seen lower, but not a high one either. So I'm not disappointed. Again, you hold these ones. Sometimes they pay out on weird schedules, YMAG and YMAX, especially depending on the underlying ETFs that they hold by YieldMax. Don't forget, that's how these ones work. They hold a bunch of the YieldMax funds. This one holds a lot, and YMAG only holds 7. So YMAX is a lot more variable, and YMAG actually is the one that's down. So let's jump right over into YMAG and see how bad the dividend has been. So the price returned a little bit better. We're down 2.08%. Average cost of $19.19 and a current price of $18.79. So if every time we buy these, this is why I love Drip, you guys. I love Drip and I love this challenge. Thank you to all of you who recommended it for me. Look at our buys. We are buying a little bit every single week. And sure, we're buying pennies, sometimes $1 worth. But look at how many buys. We're buying it at the high, we're buying it at the low, we're buying it in the middle. Drip is truly amazing, and I really recommend if you guys aren't needing this money for income, if you're goes for all investment money, not just for YMAG and YMAX, not financial advice. I'm just saying that the power of Drip is crazy. You're using your money immediately to work for you. I don't recommend taking it out and spending it on fancy things like an expensive car, fast food. I know you guys love fast food because I do too, and we shouldn't. I mean, we're going to love it, but we shouldn't spend that much money on it. So really, think about Drip. It's really, really important. YMAG has an AUM of $365.66 million and a dividend yield of just under 40%, which I think is pretty accurate. Now, YMAG versus YMAX, the ultimate question, I'll tell you, they're both really good. That's the thing. The returns have both been phenomenal, and we're going to pull that up in the spreadsheet in just a minute. But no complaints. Yeah, they're beaten down a little bit. We're not in uncharted territory yet. I hope they rebound quite nicely. But again, I would be buying more of these if I had the money to. Maybe I'll find some money. Maybe I'll sell something else. But I'm so lazy as an investor. I really am. That's why I like dividends. They pay me. They buy itself. Boom. There you go. No work for me. I wrote options for a little while. It was too much work. I'm lazy. So last couple of dividends, we see 16.8 cents a share. And then we had a low at 6 cents a share. And we had 17.5 cents a share. And then, weirdly, we had 31 cents a share, and then January 8, we had 15 cents a share. But the more recent one is even lower than that, and that may be the same case with YMAX too. They're not popping up on here as well. We saw that with YBTC. I'm not sure why. Maybe Moon was a little late to the game. Maybe it's because the market was closed today, because maybe they're just not updating. Normally, they are updating, but no worries. Do not fret, everybody. They will be showing in the weekly tracker because I auto-input them by hand, which is super old-fashioned sounding, but I really just click a bunch of buttons. So let's go ahead and jump into that tracker. All in all, I'm happy with the return on the account. We are up. It was a green week despite everything in the account nearly being red, but we have our distributions to thank for that. So let's go check them out. All right, so we are on our weekly tracking page. You guys can see, if you guys are familiar with the spreadsheet, I talk about it all the time. I love this thing. This is our weekly payment tracker. It gives you the dates so you can update them automatically, and it goes all the way through like 2026, 2027, I think, even farther than that. So it basically shows us exactly when we got paid each thing. So it makes it easier to track because sometimes, like I saw on Moomoo, they don't pay out at the same time or they're not on the chart at the same time. And this is how I like to track it. So we did get all of our distributions, even if they didn't show up on there. We had IWMY with we had 88 cents, which isn't a low. It's a little bit on the lower end. Normally we like it in the 90s, but the more the NAV falls, the lower the dividends are going to get. So I imagine we're going to continue to see this trend. We haven't seen IWMY over $1 literally since November, which is crazy. And then we have QQQY at 0.91 cents, or I should just say 91 cents, which is pretty solid actually. It was a good distribution. I'm a little bit surprised. We almost got close to that dollar area. It's about the same as we were paid out last week. It has jumped slightly, but all in all, when you have the NAV eroding, doesn't matter what the dividends are paying you, really. I mean, it's nice, but still kind of a bummer. WDTE, kind of in the middle of the pack, almost trailing down a little bit. We had a low of 37 cents and a high of 67 cents. So yeah, we're on the lower end, but nothing to really complain about. I'm not going to sell the whole thing because of it. Still, I wish it would do a little bit more. A really solid dividend from QDTE at $1.01. So this thing jumped back up. We had a low of 55 cents last week, and now it nearly doubled, which is just crazy. But they fluctuate all over the place. We still have those massive distributions of $2.61 and $2.41 that came in at the end of December. We had XDTE pay out 74 cents, which isn't a huge. I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Remember, we bought another share of QDTE and RDTE. So XDTE, this is the same amount. So we're getting paid 74 cents. It used to pay 31. It used to pay 43. So it is a good accomplishment. It is paying out pretty nicely, despite being beaten down a little bit. We go into RDTE. We have $1.13. Good. Anything over $1, I'd say, is pretty good. We've only had 3 of these so far. 3 including this one. But again, we bought another share around this area. So all in all, still solid. We're not under $1. I'm happy about it. Then we had YMAG, 27 cents. So we had what, a 6-cent dividend, something around there. It's the cycle. I'm going to say this every video that has a low dividend for YMAG. They have 7 funds. I think once a month you get a distribution that ends up being just MSFT, Microsoft, or MFTY. I can't remember the Microsoft ticker for the YieldMax funds, but it's the YieldMax ETF on Microsoft, the stock. And so that's the only one that pays out in that cycle. And so it's a lower distribution. The other ones just aren't paying out at the same time. Because remember, YMAG and YMAX, they're not writing 0 DTE calls. These ones are just the YieldMax funds focused in to get you paid weekly, which is a very good idea. I don't know why the management fee is so expensive for them, though. Oh, well, we'll talk about that later. Still, pretty good. It's what we see. We see every couple of weeks. See, we had 31 cents, then $1, then $1, then 87, then 31 cents, and then 92, and then 165, then 86, then 27. So if we had a couple of these back to back, I'd begin to get worried, but I'm not, because we have a pattern. We have YMAX paying out 64 cents. Now this is low. This is not tied with the lowest, but it's just barely above the lowest that we've seen. And I hope YMAX just bounces back a little bit. I'd like to see it do a little bit better. Again, no complaints. Sometimes the cycle with this one can be a little bit different too. It's not nearly as consistent as the cycle of YMAG, and it probably should be doing a little better, but we'll cut it some slack because it's still doing absolutely insane in the account. Then we have YBTC paying out 70 cents, which is low. This is lower than the $1 we saw, but it probably, again, is having to do with how it's paid out, because it's still getting everything figured out weekly. We need more dividend history. We need to see more to be able to really tell what it's going to do. So it is a little bit down. I thought it was actually up according to just the payout, but I guess not. I guess we are down, but not bad. I mean, we're still going to be able to calculate the yield and figure out how much it's going to be paying us. The $2, like I said, was from the monthly payment, but it just kind of was the first weekly, even though it was technically still a monthly. So yeah, nothing too shocking there. We're going to go into our positions tab and see just how much all of these are worth and find our biggest winner and our biggest loser. All right, you guys can see we have LFGY in the account now. I have 2 shares at $52.98. It is positive, but it's not on Seeking Alpha yet because the fund is like barely in existence. So it will auto-populate eventually. It just takes the spreadsheet some time to catch up because we need Seeking Alpha to catch up. Sliding over, we can see we have some pretty insane. YBTC is again near the high. XDTE and YMAG are near the middle, a little bit low, but the rest of these are still just, not NAV erosion. This is all NAV erosion. If you just see the price continuing to be these funds, let me say this. The Defiance funds have never been in the middle. They've never been near the top because the price does nothing but fall. That's kind of how you can see it. That's why I like these 52-week range maps, because that's what it is. If you guys are interested in this spreadsheet, when you buy the tier 3 channel sub, that just helps support the channel, helps me put these videos out. Believe it or not, I'm still very net negative via my YouTube business from buying the gear and doing all these challenges. But the money, it's still my money, so I'm not whining by any means. And if you guys want to help, it's great. If you don't waste your money on it. If it's not something you're going to use and really like, 100%. Moving over. Okay, we can see our total return. So just price appreciation wise, and then our return with the dividends. Now, it's just weird. Some of these, it's just crazy to me. So our loser, IWMY, although it is a little more positive than it was the last couple of weeks, QQQY dropped like crazy. This thing, I think it was 1% up, and now it's up only 0.16%, which is devastating. We have WDTE up 4%, which again is not bad. You're going up 1% a month, so you're averaging, what, a 12% a year, which isn't terrible. But then you're going to get taxed on that if you're not investing in a Roth, which I'm not. So am I going to get taxed? Do I have to pay taxes on this right away? I'll ask an accountant. Taxes really are not my thing. All right, and then we get into the good news. QDTE is up 5.54%. Very, very solid. XDTE is up 5.02%. And this is interesting. QDTE is doing better total return wise and dividend wise. So, or maybe not better dividend wise. Let's see. We'll slide over to the side. I'm jumping the gun here. I normally do this in order, but if we check this, not annual dividend income, we can see our total dividends received. No, XDTE pays out $4 less than QDTE. So that is very interesting, but they're pretty close, off by half a percentage. RDTE is still positive despite being down $9.50, and that's just because it pays out an insane dividend. Like, what has it paid out so far? RDTE has paid out $12.55, and it's newer than QDTE and XDTE, so they have more dividend history. It just pays out more. And then we have our winners. We have the big three. Despite LFGY, again, is still positive 2.5%. So the one we just bought, the fund I bought this week, is still outperforming RDTE, QQQY, and IWMY. And I bought it like 4 days ago. So, you know, I'm not saying it's going to be a crazy winner, but I'm just saying that those ones have been kind of losers lately. We have 10.09% return from YBTC. The dividends are solid. I'm happy with this guy. It is mostly up on price return because we haven't seen that many dividends from it yet. But I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will in due time. Be patient. And then we have our second, or our runner-up, I should say, YMAG. So YMAG, again, is dethroned by YMAX. We are up $11.95 in total return, and percentage-wise, 11.43%. We are still down $2 in just market return, though. And then YMAX, despite being down $4.38 in market return, we are up $11.18 for an 11.77% total return, which is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. We'll slide back over here and look at our dividends again. Most dividends paid out so far are from YMAX. Second place, we have YMAG. And, I mean, everything else kind of trails off. Yeah, you have a lot. You have quite a bit from RDTE at $12.55, and then you have a lot from IWMY and QQQY. They pay out a ton of money, but they just can't keep it going. And then QDTE $13.32. So pretty crazy. I am surprised that RDTE has paid out. I guess it hasn't paid out more than QDTE, but it has paid out more than XDTE. Interesting stuff. We can see the annual dividend income based off of Seeking Alpha and the market value and the cost basis. And then you have like the yield on cost and all that and the dividend yield on all of these. But again, it's not really up to date. We have RDTE being really low and some of these other ones, it takes quite a bit of time. You need a full year. You need a full year of tracking on here to be able to really tell how things are doing. But that is our weekly update. We do have some cash in the account. I'm happy with how it's been going. We'll be buying another share of XDTE soon. Hopefully we can get it when it is so low. I would love to get some more. And like we're seeing with the drip, with the YieldMax funds, I'm pumped. I love drip. I love it buying over and over and over again. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys, and I hope to see you in the next video.